and to rip down and to tear apart because I can get my way. Ask the people of Haiti if they got their way. Ask the people of Chile if they got their way. But the church is rejoicing. I love to see those kids just worshiping and giving and praising the Lord. I love that. It speaks of a resilience that comes from something much deeper than what we have seen on the outside. A New Testament church needs to be marked by intense worship. Worship that flows out of the life from the inside. Now we can teach people how to praise. The Bible is full of telling people how to praise. You know, you do the clapping your hands. You do it with the dance. You do it with the instruments, with the stringed instruments. You do it with the shouts of praise. That's all praise. But then the Bible, the only thing it really tells us about worship is you must worship in spirit and in truth. Well, that's sort of confusing. So a lot of times churches have gone ahead and just put the two together and said, well, we're just praising, we're just worshiping. We make the terms interusable, interchangeable. It doesn't matter. You call it worship, we call it praise, tomato, tomato. No, it's different. Praise and worship are two separate things. And the Bible is full of telling people how to praise.
Yes.
In fact, every time you find out when the Bible speaks about praise, there's a lot of noise involved. Never is it quiet when the Bible speaks about praise. It talks about Israel praising and their enemies could hear them. It talks about the saints of God, the followers of Jesus starting to praise, and the religious people got mad and says, tell them to shut up. This is too loud. We don't need this much noise. Religious spirits, I don't think they like noise. Unless it comes from a football game.
Come on. Come on.
I didn't say that. Yeah. So a New Testament church needs to be marked with intense worship. Well, how do you worship? You know, the Bible doesn't say how to worship. It doesn't say I should clap my hands. It doesn't say I should be on my knees. It doesn't say I should be on my face. How do I worship? Well, the Bible teaches that as we enter into praise, I will enter his gates with thanksgiving in my heart. I will enter his courts with praise. But when I get into the presence of the Lord, all of a sudden there's no directions anymore. Now it has to be my heart in touch with his spirit, with his heart. Deep calls unto deep, and as deep calls unto deep, it draws me into the place where whatever I do is a reaction to the presence of the Almighty God. Oh, come let us worship and bow down, the Bible speaks about. The whole psalm goes on about worshiping and bowing down. And the attitude is almost the attitude of a dog licking his master's hand and just being thankful for having the opportunity to be in his presence. Worship. How do we move from praise to worship? Our heart has to be there, because if our heart isn't there, we're never going to do it. If our heart has not entered into worship, all we're going to do is find fault with those that are worshiping. Oh, well, who do they think they are? On their knees in church. Well, why do they have to sing so loud? Doesn't have to be so loud. Doesn't have to be so quiet. Well, they're just doing it for a show. See, you can't judge the heart. There's only one that looks on the heart, and the one that looks on the heart will judge whether this was done for show, or whether this was done out of love, or whether this was just done because there's just nothing else to do at this time. Intense worship scares people. Because all of a sudden, you're just not in charge anymore. We were at a meeting one time. The worship team was out playing, and they had just done a beautiful job, and everybody was in praise, and they began to worship. And the church that this service was being held at was very structured. In fact, that church would make our church look like we didn't even know yet what the word structure meant. They were very structured, and the time had come, and the lead pastor had looked at his watch. It was now time. So he got up, and he was going to start taking, and all of a sudden he just realized he wasn't doing nothing. Because the church was still worshiping. And he got on the mic, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, and finally he just went and sat down. Why? Because when God takes over, he really doesn't need you.
That's right. That's true.
And the whole congregation just continued on in worship for another half hour. Why? It was time. See, there's a refreshing that flows from your innermost being. When you come into the presence of God, and you are just in the before the Lord, and you just don't even care about who's beside you anymore. Deep is calling unto deep. Your innermost being has been touched by the Spirit of the Almighty, and He's drawing things out of you that you didn't even know were there. He's drawing reaction out of you that you didn't even know you were capable of. Deep. Calling unto deep. What's appropriate at that time? Now it's usually quieter. What we like in it too is when somebody's at the airport and they go meet somebody at the airport, and they're up on the observation deck and they're watching as the passenger plane is disembarking, and all the people are coming off, and all of a sudden they can see somebody. Oh, there they are, and they start yelling, "Hi, I'm over here!" And they're waving and yelling, "We're here, we're here!" And then they come through the terminals and they come past the security, and they come in, and you start running downstairs to meet them. Here! We're here! And then the moment comes where the security gates have been cleared and the crowd is out of the way, and you see 2 people with their arms wrapped around each other. They're no longer going, "I'm here! I'm here!" Now all of a sudden they're whispering in each other's ear. And they're telling each other things that nobody else has a right to hear. That's how it is when we come into the presence of God. We have the praise. What is the praise? Sing unto God. Shout out to God. Shout out loud. One of the words for praise is tequila. No, not tequila. It might cause noise, but it won't be the right tequila. And it means loud shouts of praise. It's exuberance. It's dance. It's in fact, it talks about ear-splitting shouts of praise. Tequila. The Hebrew word. That's one of the words for praise. There's words that talk about spinning in praise. There's words about clapping and shouting. This is all part of praise. Why do we do that? Well, that's just emotional. No, that's there to bring our hearts to the place where we are ready to worship. The New Testament church needs to be marked with praise and with worship. But it has to flow, like the praise we can teach. But the worship has to flow from the life inside. I cannot teach somebody how to worship. All I can do, all the worship team can do, is bring them to the place where their hearts, their spirits connect with the living God. Now you're alone. Why does the worship team often come off to the place? They're still playing, they're singing, but what are they singing? I can't understand what they're saying. They're not even sounding like they're singing in English. They're not. They can't teach you any further. You have to move in now. Now it's your turn. Now you respond. Now trying to establish these things, of course, does not come without challenge. There will be opposition. Now we know, of course, that the center of all opposition is the devil, but he does manifest in different ways. Now, he's not creative, so he's going to continue to use the same old attacks to try and stop the work of the Lord that he's used for the last however many thousands of years. That's why one of the main reasons that it's so necessary to have good intercessory ministry. have people that are praying and breaking down those attacks before they ever have a chance to manifest.